Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 2nd, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 246. I am Mayor Watt, and the voice you hear, and if you're watching the stream or over on YouTube watching it as a VOD there, the visualizer as well for the Sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to Non Sequitur News.
Who waited all that while for me to let them just start talking. But hey, guess what? Today we're going to be talking about Labor Day weekend strike. Starliner tries to make contact. Artificial scarcity in merchandising disclosed. Read that again. Taco Bell is winning still. Ticketmaster dynamic pricing. Yeah, bastards. Stuff Boeing factory workers say. The old ball in blockchain. When this boat's at port, reboot. Is VW grinding gears and astronomical observations at a temple site. That and more. And if there isn't more, just stick around. Go listen to one of the other 1,100 videos that's over in ohmTown on YouTube, and there's only 60 days of videos on Twitch because they purge. So go binge before they purge. Or you can go over to YouTube and watch all of it. And you can always download them too. Speaking of that, to get today's show notes, you can hit !NSN, and that will throw the articles out of ohmTown and into the chat. And if you want all of the show notes syntax, you can hit !show notes, and that'll give you the syntax. Like if you want the continuity report, or wanted, or reality hacker, or WarCrafter, or technology today, or four-wheel tech show notes, you can just type in their particular commands. Like technology today is just !TT. And if you want to download the podcast, you hit !podcast. But if you do searches for ohmTown, you'll find them as well. All 7 podcasts are updated as of this morning. So I hope somebody out there is interested in them. I see you downloading, but tell a friend. Spread the word. Let them know that we are out there. Help me help you help them by way of transitory properties. Anyway, right? Is that?
I'm not sure. Transitive
Properties, right? Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, let's get into today's articles before I say something else stupid and the AI can't stop me because, well, I'm a human being and they're a computer. Okay. More than 10,000 U.S. hotel workers are striking on Labor Day weekend. So, boy.
That's got to be good for holiday travelers.
And where are they doing it?
Looks like everywhere.
Boston, Seattle, Honolulu, Kauai, Greenwich, Connecticut, as well as Californian cities, San Francisco,
The little unknown San Diego.
San Diego. There is sand in San Diego. San Jose. Which why do I feel like they probably pronounced it San Jose?
Most definitely.
Well, because I said reading once and it's Reading. You
well,
never know.
I also said Jorge Jimenez and it's not.
George. So anyway, yeah, they after contract talks with the establishment's owners collapsed. So staff demand wage increases and reversal of pandemic-era cutbacks that impose painful working conditions, and you have to claw back your benefits. Good luck, right? Benefits
right,
disappear.
and once you've given something up in an employment setting, it's not coming back.
That's right. Well, in any setting, and the moment that you give something up, whatever the administration is, they abuse it. I mean, and that's why unions exist. So, and anybody who is unaware of that You have to be sociopathic. I mean, you really have to understand that if everything was going okay, nobody would need a union, because there isn't so much disparity that someone feels like they're being preyed upon, and cries for assistance through management up to senior leadership go unheard or giggled and pointed at. Not that that's ever happened to me. Nobody's ever pointed and giggled at me. Anyway, Robert Tate over at theguardian.com put this article together, and good on them. You know, I know that when I travel, I treat everybody with respect, but the employers may not. Seeing as, you know, they may go, well, you know, we're footing the bill for all of this hotel stuff, and you're nothing more. That's the phrase, right? Like, you're nothing more than an employee. Well, welcome to Unionville. More than 10,000 workers walked off the job at hotels over the country. The Unite Here Union, which represents workers in hotels, casinos, airports across the U.S. and in Canada, warned that staff in other cities were ready to join the strike. Strikes have also been authorized and could begin at any time, a union statement said, adding that hotels in Baltimore, Providence, Oakland, New Haven could be affected anywhere, I suppose, their presence is. Unite Here is actually 275,000 members strong. They've accused the hotel industry of using cutbacks triggered by COVID-related lockdowns to permanently cut staff and reduce guest services. And the problem is that there are people that want the job so bad that they're willing to endure the COVID-related lockdowns in perpetuity, and the administration now expects that performance.
Well, right, and then they're doing more with fewer people, and while that might be okay in the short term, it's not sustainable.
Right. I once uttered to, I'll just say a group of people, that if you do not understand the real costs incurred because there is a group of people that are operating under the goodwill umbrella, you really don't know how much your operation is costing you. And so what needs to take place is everybody do exactly what they're supposed to do, because anything over that is really unearned benefit. So this is that. They were told you have to do this because of the COVID. You want to keep your job, you have to keep on working, work harder, work more. Well, now the COVID pandemic is largely endemic, and we know what to do. Wash hands, tell people to put on a mask. People still don't, and they're not doing it nowadays, but that's because it's more endemic, and we have vaccines, and more people are taking the vaccine than goobers that aren't. Anyway, let's move on to the next article. Good on them. Good luck. The next article is over in Technology Today. Now there's a creepy sonar-like sound coming through one of Starliner's speakers. And this apparently has been resolved in the last 8 hours.
This is reminiscent of some other things, right?
Like, you mean the movie Contact?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, either Starliner's crying out and saying, I want to go home, and home is some other planet. Or there are aliens trying to present us with the engineering specs to create a quantum tunnel and fold space-time so that we can communicate with aliens. So Starliner is scheduled to undock from the ISS and make its return to Europe uncrewed in just a matter of days. But apparently it's still crying out, ping, ping. They referred to it as a sonar-like sound coming through Starliner's speaker, posed a brief mystery on the ISS. Astronaut Butch Wilmore radioed Mission Control on Saturday for help figuring out the source of a pulsing noise. Cheyenne McDonald put the article together, and when I heard this, I was like, wow, this is weird. Why would it do that? You can follow the links over to engadget.com where this is housed. But in essence, there was just a repeated pinging sound, and the people online, particularly Reddit, were trying to figure out what it was. Somebody said that it basically is a misconfiguration. And somewhere there's somebody making someone is making a noise that is delayed 500 milliseconds, and that is the noise that's being picked up. Well, a lot of people poo-pooed it and blah, 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 but essentially at the end of the day, that's what it was. It was a configuration error, supposedly between Starliner and the ISS. NASA wasn't even involved in it, apparently. But they figured it out, and apparently it's been remedied. I like a good conspiracy, though, so I'm saying they fixed the problem by turning off whatever it was that was making the ping. But what was making the ping, and why was it making the ping? Some people say it was just noise, right?
It also reminds me of just, I think it was called Constellation, but I mean, just really any kind of sci-fi experience, like something is going on here.
Yeah, and it immediately also thought about NaNoWriMo. It's right around the corner, folks. So if you're looking for inspiration, here it is. This is like Contact 2.0. Can you imagine following up Contact with Contact 2.0, and it's the next step? Whatever
No,
we're
I
going to
mean,
do.
that would be really outrageous. I mean, here you could just make it on real life.
Yeah.
Based on real life.
A little bit of reality and a whole lot of creative writing, and you end up with a really good story, because it makes you go, oh my gosh, this is real life. But something happened today, as I was going to say doom scrolling, but surfing the web isn't really doom scrolling.
It can be, depending on where you are and what you're reading.
It definitely can be. Yeah, it can be. So there is somebody on YouTube that basically posted a big video, quite upset with NaNoWriMo because they had called out a bunch of stuff, and others have called out a bunch of stuff about NaNoWriMo not doing anything about certain threats to individuals. And well, in a way, everybody, no, I don't know how to describe this, and I'm kind of meandering around trying to say it, but essentially some bad things involving NaNoWriMo. Well, now they're basically saying that they'll allow tools like AI to be involved in the processes of NaNoWriMo. So you can use AI, but apparently a supporter of NaNoWriMo right now is a tool that is powered by AI, and it's never been there before. So this YouTuber got in front of it, and this basically making the claim that the only reason why they're championing AI is because they've got money coming from. That's the implication. That's what you would infer from their statements. So I find it really interesting, but you'll have to go and look for it. I don't even remember what the name of the channel was. I'd give them credit for the outrage, but anyway. So they basically said on this article that the space station's audio system is complex, allowing multiple spacecraft and modules to be interconnected, and it is common to experience noise and feedback. My problem with that is, why on a 21st century craft or 20th century craft do we have the opportunity to get noise and feedback because it's interconnected? It
doesn't seem like we should have any chance of that occurring, right? We've kind of got a lock on frequencies and just technology.
Yeah, so I guess they're going to try and figure out. It said the incident had no impact on the crew or Starliner's departure schedule, but I'm really curious why it suddenly started doing it, and then how that actually takes place. Somebody said that it's basically an open mic somewhere picking it up and causing feedback through the system, but somebody had to have flipped on that switch, right? Or did something else. Something inside the house. Moving on. Next article is over on WarCrafters. AMD officially launches the Ryzen 5 7600X3D, but in limited numbers and only through one seller, US seller. And I titled this Artificial Scarcity in Merchandising Disclosed. So, artificial merchandising disclosed, AMD, get it? Anyway. They're not all gems. So this artificially constrained blah, 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 just like their video cards, like NVIDIA, right, did this. If you don't allow certain things to take place, normal market and supply and demand to take place, you know how many you need to produce and you know what the price should be, right? X amount above your, whatever your perceived, the company has to decide whatever the perceived value is above the cost of goods.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. As long as you're making a profit, you make the product, right? That is supposed to be the motive. You produce X, you see the market going.
But you're missing a word there. Record
Greed?
profit.
Greedy profit?
Record.
Record. Oh, record.
Same idea.
No, I like yours. It's more subtle and it's neutral in its claim, right? Record. You have to have record profits. So it says
every quarter.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, the stock suffers, and you can't, play around with your stock and benefit that way as well. AMD. Okay. So this article is actually over at PC Gamer. And they say that they previously reported on this being a tech rumor, but now AMD has officially given the Ryzen 5 7600X3D the green light, bringing 6 cores and 96 megabytes of L3 cache to the masses. Well, only the masses in the US, and even then, only those who are near the 28 Micro Center retail stores in that country. So in that country over there.
This seems really constrained.
Yeah. So my point when I started talking about this was, well, guess what happens? The FOMO crew shovels out buckets of money to get whatever it is. And now they know what the real value is, how fast it sells off the shelves, right? So if you really want an X3D chip, you're probably better off waiting for the 9000 versions to launch. And when you and they have this little disclaimer that when you purchase links through their site that they're going to make a commission. We don't. All I'm doing and all the AI is involved with in this is that we are talking about the news. So if you go over to their site, it's on you. So it says, however, there's 2 caveats, right? So you may not be able to get to them, limited supply. And once they're sold, that's it. But that sets the trend for future, because if somebody's willing to pay $300 for it, then the next chip, they can go, you know what? This chip only cost us $50 to produce. And they're willing to pay 6 times that. I wonder if our $100 chip, we can charge $600 for it.
I mean, once they've tested the market, why not? Right? From the company's standpoint.
And people fell over themselves trying to get the latest 4000 series NVIDIA RTX cards. What's coming next? Who knows? So the important question to ask whether the Ryzen 5 7600X3D is worth buying $300, considering considerably less than the $419 it cost to buy the 7800X3D from Amazon. And if you don't really have an AM5 motherboard and DDR5 RAM, you'll have quite a bit of extra cash to put towards them. If you did buy the 6-core chip, but $300, I mean, $300 versus $419. It's $120. That isn't quite a bit more money to put towards DDR5 RAM. But it says here, however, both the new Ryzen 5 9600X and last gen Ryzen 5 7600 are cheaper still. It's, below $300 at Newegg, but I haven't bought anything from Newegg since they were acquired. So like 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, that's been a while, I think.
Yeah, so if you're one of the lucky few to live near a micro center and you've been looking to do a cheap AM5 upgrade, then $450 for the bundle is worth it. Personally, though, if they had an AM4 motherboard, they just get a Ryzen 7 5700X3D, a little over $204 at Amazon, and stay on that platform until AMD releases another generation of AM5 processors. And yeah, then the only problem is they constrain how much is available, and they're going to start, just like NVIDIA did, they're going to produce the just-in-time delivery of products that fit the market demand below the market demand. That way people are like, oh, please, I need it. I will stand outside Best Buy at 2 in the morning, so when it opens at 8, I'll get a 4090, and it'll be only $2,500. That's them scrabbling at the door. Open. If you can. Fine. I ruined the joke by telling it, I suppose. Moving on. As we have been documenting here in ohmTown, because we know some of the future, because we've watched documentaries like Demolition Man. And now even Running Man. I mean, but anyway, there and several other movies have foretold the future. It's no wonder that Taco Bell is winning the fast food wars. Oh my gosh, there's somebody.
We heard it first in Demolition Man, right?
Yep. Just look at how they treat their biggest fans. They're gonna make them mayor of that town in Demolition Man. That's how it works. You start now, you'll be the manager on duty of whatever the town is in Demolition Man. St. Angeles, I think it was. Recently went to the Cantinas, a luxury getaway Taco Bell hosted for biggest super fans. Tickets were for a weekend cost $150. For 2 people, or $50 for 2 guests to enjoy a day pass. Chief Marketing Officer Taylor Montgomery told the author of this, and we haven't gotten there yet. The weekend was Taco Bell's way of saying thank you to its fans as the sun set over a luxury San Diego resort. The author laid flat on a purple yoga mat and contemplated the meaning of life at a Taco Bell sound bath.
Okay, that sounds unique.
Is this where I think it is? Is this just right outside Carlsbad, California?
I don't know.
I
can't tell what the setting is.
We talked about the cantinas before.
Yeah, I think we did.
Annetta Constantinitis over at businessinsider.com put the article together. It's basically the Cantinas is a luxury getaway Taco Bell hosted for its biggest super fans. Tickets for a weekend pass for 2 is $150 or $50 for 2 guests to enjoy a day pass. And so they just say that it's at a San Diego resort. Let's find out where it is. The chain's recent weekend getaway for its superfans. When Taco Bell announced the event back in July is when we first talked about it as well. It invited hundreds of fast food lovers to slow down and enjoy early retirement with an all-you-can-eat Taco Bell meal and senior-inspired recreation. What, telling people to get off their lawn? Things like that? There was pickleball, bingo, endless burritos, but they were surprised to find that a weekend at the Cantinas was really all about the community. one as passionate as the Swifties, with the desire to connect far beyond a shared love of Crunch Wrap Supremes.
It looks like it was in Irvine, but that says San Diego, so maybe there was more than one location.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure where it is now. Rancho Santa Fe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so close. So the energy was already high, and their Uber dropped them off at the Hotel de la Valle, a resort and golf club in San Diego's ritzy Rancho Santa Fe neighborhood. Excited fans had started arriving 2 hours before the official 10 a.m. check-in, which didn't surprise them. Wow. Kenny Rotter, a superfan from Los Angeles decked out in a retro pink and purple set, told the author that he had made a new friend after bonding over their outfits. They were wearing Taco Bell Hawaiian shirt, she wearing a Hawaiian shirt that featured her cats, and it was just friendship at first bite, Rotter told the author on the event's second day. There it is, look at that. Taco Bell sourced 500 pieces from thrift stores across the U.S. for the Cantina's Sundries shop. Yeah, there were also purple golf balls, purple yoga mats, and a white and purple checkered blanket that covered the hot pink sheets in their bed at La Valle.
You know, has any other company done something like this? I can't think of one.
Okay, so they're for really expensive cars. I think it's BMW. We talked about
That's
it.
right. Yeah, you're right. Okay, something that is not a high-end luxury brand. Have you ever heard of something like this?
Oh, no. Dollar Tree isn't pulling people into,
to retreats and everything.
Right. Yeah, the only retreat is probably the employees from the patrons.
But you're right. That there are at least some high-end car manufacturers where it's a full event to go to the showroom and...
Yeah, they take you to like a Greek Isle and airlift the vehicle of your choice to it, and then you get to tool around on the island, and they say, don't worry, we'll pay the environmental damage fees. Everybody's already on board. You just buy our $1 million vehicle, and and then you sit there and pull out entirely. And you're like, nope, I'm out. No, sorry. And they're like, and they just blow up the island. Anyway, we've come a long way from fast food chains hoping to build up hype and boost sales with simple sweepstakes. In recent years, there's been a Cheetos runway show at New York Fashion Week, a Cheez-It diner in Woodstock, and a Snoop Dogg Jack in the Box pop-up in LA. I would have paid big money for that. Because for me, I think Jack in the Box has some of the worst food, but it's really, really good. I think it's the worst for you. But it's right. So good. At least that's how I felt more than 20 years ago, when I think was the last time I had Jack in the Box. Anyway, Subway has invited fans to dine in a 180-foot long blimp in the sky, while planters created a peanut-shaped dive bar.
Okay, so I guess there are others doing similar things, although this is more involved.
Yeah. The room is much more sedate than I... I mean, we went from that...
That's what I was kind of picturing.
To a little dry. I'm hoping that when they pulled back the sheets of their bed, it literally spontaneously combusted their eyes with pink.
I think it does, because I think it said the sheets were hot pink.
Yeah, they must have been underneath the... what did they call that? The...
comforter, duvet.
Duvet, there you go. Thank you. Duvet. It's not a sofa, it's a couch. Taco Bell can afford to splash out right now because, well, like every other fast food place, they've been ripping people off. I mean, I like Taco Bell. You can sponsor ohmTown if you want. You could be the food of choice. Anyway, while fast food chains continue to struggle, no. Taco Bell reported 5% increase in same-store sales in the most recent quarter, outpacing McDonald's and its sister companies, KFC and Pizza Hut. I don't think Pizza Hut has long for the planet.
No, I'm kind of surprised it's made it as long as it has.
Like Buffalo
Because I
Wild
think
Wings.
when it first was created, there wasn't much competition, at least in the way of national chains.
Yeah, their cantina meals, by the way, are pretty good. So, yeah, all of their cantina stuff is pretty good. So, but Taco Bell isn't sitting complacent. The chain's savvy business strategy still underlies the cantinas, which was named after the chain's new cantina chicken dishes. The new menu, launched in March, was part of Taco Bell's mission to show the world that it's more than just your midnight drive-through stop. No, it's still a midnight drive-through stop. It just has the cantinas now. So they're on a big journey. I won't go through all the rest of this. I mean, it's basically them going through this process of spending a couple of days at the cantinas. And if you want to read more about it, feel free to go and check it all out. I will say, though, that they say here, I figured out how many calories it would take to burn if I got a taco. I jogged there, got one single taco, and returned home, said Tim, who revealed that he was an avid runner who had trekked 2 miles to grab a single taco from Taco Bell for 97 days in a row.
Oh, wow. They must really like Taco Bell.
What? Whoa, wait. My brain is hurting. Some days...
They're saying that's the equivalent of their hot girl walk.
Is that some hip lingo that the youth know the meaning of?
Yes, we've had an article on that before, but there was some dispute as to who created it first, but there's basically an organization where it's to get women out walking.
That's that.
It doesn't quite mean what it sounds like, but...
Well, yeah, it's because isn't the hot girl walk the one where they talk about, is it the book club thing too? No, that's different.
No. But it seems like it could be.
Moving on. Okay, so I'm going to jump on my soapbox. So come back in 5 minutes. Anyway, I'll try to avoid that. Just letting you know. Hold on a second. Hey, guess what I have now? Look.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that'll come when I need to. But anyway, so for
those in the podcast, there's a spoiler alert splashed up.
Yeah, we now have a spoiler alert thing, but I'm going to have to get one for rant incoming and do that too.
There you go.
Everybody knows. And you're like, oh God, just mute. And when I stop with the spoiler alert or the rant incoming, then you know.
Are you going to have an alert that the rant is over?
Yeah, well, it'll just say rant on, and then I'll turn it off.
I
know
see.
that the rant is off. So Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing for Oasis tickets set to be investigated by UK government. Okay, UK government, come on over. But not like I don't want the whole government, okay? Just leave the United States alone. We don't want the whole revolution shit going on again, right? But what we do want...
Too soon.
It's only been... So what we do want is things like the right to be forgotten and stop killing games, and which actually is
privacy
kind of
rights,
flaming out. Yeah,
which
privacy
I know
rights
attaches kind of the right to be forgotten.
And investigating the frick out of Ticketmaster and this dynamic pricing, because oh my God, the reason why there's constrained tickets and greedy prices is because of the fact that Ticketmaster controls the market. So they're actually already under investigation here in the United States. But I think that we need to keep that pressure on, because the only reason why there isn't any competition is because Ticketmaster is buying the tickets and then selling them in their system as they're available, but they're not really available, because if any other venue tries to say, hey, I'll sell those tickets, they can't, because Ticketmaster is basically glomming onto all of them. And it's nothing more than an agreement. So somebody else needs to create a processing system that allows them to sell tickets from the venue with zero friction. But they don't want to do that because venues get bulk money up front. Like, here's all your money. This is how many tickets we're going to sell. And they have the infrastructure, and they have like the payment system and everything. That way the venue doesn't have to worry about point of sale anything, and doesn't have to transact any funds. Everything is done digitally. Well, anyway, Ticketmaster is set to face some tough questions in the UK after thousands of Oasis fans were left disappointed, having failed to secure tickets through the site for the band's long-awaited reunion tour. UK Culture Minister Lisa Nandy has pledged to look into Ticketmaster's use of dynamic pricing, which I witnessed that on Amazon over the last week.
Oh, right.
So is it
I think
dynamic
you were
pricing?
describing that in another episode.
Yeah. Was it dynamic pricing, or was it somebody changing it every hour?
Well, it could have been the manufacturer. That's the thing you don't know on a site like Amazon.
Right. I don't know who's supplying the one page load product, because sometimes it was the real vendor and sometimes it was somebody else. Well, anyway, and I'd love to know more. If somebody wants to come and walk me through this, then from Amazon, come and talk to me. I would love to. Let's set the record straight. Well, Oasis is the one that said scalp tickets are going to get invalidated and they can't be sold beyond face value, right? So how is dynamic pricing valid at all?
Well, that's what didn't make sense. And I almost raised that when we were discussing the previous article, because I'm like, well, if it's only at face value, but there's dynamic pricing, is that wiping out the face value? I mean, to me, the face value is whatever the initial ticket price was, not any surcharges on top of it.
Right. Yeah, whatever the ticket price was. But that's apparently not what's with dynamic pricing. It's whatever ticket you pay. So it's not the scalp tickets. It's whatever ticket price is on your screen at the time. So KJ Yossman over at variety.com put the article together, and they're already in hot water. Thousands more couldn't get through to buy tickets at all, forcing them to resort to ticket resale sites, which Oasis has said scalp tickets are going to get invalidated. But they didn't do that. So what's funny about this is you're not bound by a third party's agreement. So if Oasis says we're going to invalidate scalp tickets, but those tickets were sold in good faith, doing so after the sale is basically changing a contract that consumer isn't part of. So you're really, Oasis is going to get involved in a lawsuit, which, maybe they're, again, when people get filthy freaking rich, they tend towards being sociopathic. And so who knows, maybe they'll go, we don't care. We've got money. And they'll burden everybody with lawsuit after lawsuit. But who knows, really. So the government is set to hold a consultation on ticket resale websites this autumn. Dynamic pricing will now be included in the scope of the consultation, Nandy confirmed, saying ministers would look at issues around the transparency and use of dynamic pricing, including the technology around queuing systems, which incentivize it. And one of the issues is you don't know if you are a victim of dynamic pricing in many regards, because unless there's people around you all landing at the page at the same time and everybody sees 3 different or 4 different prices.
Exactly. You're just going to see whatever the ticket price is and think that's the ticket price.
That's it. Yeah. And the only reason...
And most people are going to pay it, right? Because they want to go to the event badly enough.
Yeah. And the only reason I know that I was being hit by something similar to dynamic pricing was that when the item was not in my shopping cart 2 days earlier, it was $100 cheaper. I put it into my shopping cart and I waited a day and it shot up $100. Over the course of 8 hours, it jumped from that $100 increase to $160 increase. And the inventory didn't change. So what was I actually a victim of? And then lo and behold, when I pulled it out of my shopping cart, it dropped back down $75.
It's such a racket, isn't it?
Yeah. So something hinky was going on there. And it's this. And it's kind of like the post office issue, right? The evidence
Horizon issue.
Yeah, the Horizon issue. Well, the evidence is within the very system. And it's the system that's bad and exploitive. And it happens in the dark. So abuse happens in the dark. That's another one of the phrases that I say. So they say it's not the first time that Ticketmaster has been found itself in trouble with government officials following a ticket fiasco. U.S. Senate convened a hearing. But come on, senators. There's like two. I won't say anything because I don't want to get into politics. But let's just say corporations have regulatory capture. They're the ones that write the rules and hand it to the people that create the law. I mean, that's the way it works. So anyway, so we'll keep an eye on this. Ticketmaster, I think, is trending towards being broken up, and it'll be the baby bell of ticketing.
Right. And in 10 years, it might be Ticketmaster again.
It'll just reconstitute because the rules stipulated only a certain way of running business, but it'll be kind of like Google is Alphabet, but everybody knows that it's just Google. The only reason why it really has any weight is because it was Google and it bought YouTube, and right. So everybody knows that Alphabet is just Google. Ticketmaster, when it does get broken up, is going to be all of these little companies, but it's going to be under an umbrella company called Ticketmaster or something else,
right?
Ticket Boss, because Ticketmaster has a bad reputation. All right, let's keep moving on. Boeing factory workers say that they're overworked and under pressure to make miracles happen, like getting the Starliner home. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
I don't even think that's in scope of this article.
Yeah, they're
but
talking,
that is a key problem that they're facing.
They're talking about miracles like keeping the doors bolted on. So a Boeing employee told the Seattle Times that they face pressure to make miracles happen. Others told investigators that planes moved down factory lines with defects to maintain production speed. A team captain said that there was high turnover of staff because it's a stressful job. Boeing factory workers it's called a union. Just strike. A Boeing factory worker, and then if you do strike.
Well, then the person will be out when they need to put the bolts on.
Yeah, or deleted. So Boeing factory workers have expressed concerns about pressures on production speed as the plane makers' processes are scrutinized in the wake of January's Alaska Airlines blowout, which when they talk about blowout, they're talking about a door being sucked off of the plane, and then supposedly even a person's shirt got pulled off of them. I mean, I would wet my pants if that happened to me. Everybody else would scream because sun hasn't hit me in I don't know how many years. But anyway, I'd be screaming because my shirt was removed. Boeing factory workers have expressed concerns about Mayor Watt being on a plane, because if the door does get blown off, his shirt will be removed. I'm quoting it. It's right there in the article.
None of that is in the article.
Pete Sim over at businessinsider.com put this article together. I love that all of the planes are green, and then they paint them.
Yeah, I didn't know that until this article.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. So green with envy that other planes are in the air and not having their doors blown off. I'm sorry. I'm just I am pounding that one like a new dough. Got nothing. Anyway, at the firm's
I thought you were
plans,
going to say like a bolt into a door.
Well, I am stomping on that like a wing being attached to a Boeing. So the technician at plane maker 737 MAX factory in Renton, Washington, told Seattle Times that there's pressure to make miracles happen. You just got to work around it, he said. So if like another crew is behind, we'll just work on the next plane we need to work on. That's usually how it works, You work on whatever plane you're supposed to work on.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of like you're abandoning one that maybe needs some more attention.
Yeah, I think the implication is that it's still moving down the line and they skip.
Right. And then they maybe never get back to it.
Right. Hence, we don't know where the bolts were. I mean, that dude was out. He missed his chance to do his job. Asked what could make the process perfect. He said probably making sure we get it, it gets to our flow day. Everything will be ready, like complete. All right. So he added that 60 to 70% of the aircraft that would come through his station are still waiting for other work to be done. So they travel defects constantly. The line has to keep going. Well, there's the problem. So the NTSB's preliminary report about the Alaska Airlines 737 MAX that lost its door plug left Boeing's factory missing key bolts. We know now that the person who was responsible for that was actually not there, and a trainee was there, and they must have missed it. Yeah, that was in another article that was reported
that's true.
elsewhere, and we talked about it. So in March, a team captain at the Renton factory told NTSB investigators sometimes morale, right, can be low. We have a lot of turnover, specifically because, this can be a stressful job. And obviously they didn't respond to Business Insider. I'm sure it was because of Labor Day holidays. There's more in this article, but for crying out loud. Yeah, the article that we talked about in a previous episode spells out, because the NTSB actually has the statements from the engineer saying, well, I wasn't even there.
Right, I was on vacation, and then they gave it to somebody who didn't, they were brand new. They weren't even a full employee, I don't think.
Yeah, and their previous job was in fast food. They weren't even an engineer.
Right.
So, yeah. All right, let's keep moving. Moving on. Now you can bring out the old ball and blockchain. You can actually get married on blockchain. Here's how. Couples are increasingly looking for unique ways to make their wedding day unforgettable. Like, I don't know, getting married should be pretty unforgettable,
Exactly. That should be the unforgettable part.
Yeah, you shouldn't be stuck on the Starliner to make it unforgettable. Yeah. One innovative approach is incorporating crypto and blockchain technology, which offers a secure and personalized wedding experience. No, it doesn't. It's so dumb. Anyway, Vinamrata Chaturvedi put the article together, and they actually have a slideshow about how you can do it too, but I won't be able to go through all of this. It says by leveraging blockchain, couples can safeguard important memories, documents, and even digital assets related to their special day. As awareness of these benefits grows, it's likely that the blockchain will become a popular choice for weddings in the future, adding a modern and tech-savvy touch to traditional celebrations. But I don't get it.
Is that going to be added to the expression, something something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue?
Well, it'll now be something blockchain, something crypto.
Yeah. Right, exactly. You'll have to have all that checked off.
Yep. So it's important to note that a blockchain wedding is not legally binding. Rather, it serves as a symbolic commitment, much like everything other than signing.
Like a wedding?
Yeah. All of it is symbolic, okay?
That is true.
The only thing that isn't symbolic is your contract, where you sign that you and you are being married. So there's really just one document that you have to sign, and then you're bound for life, so to speak, until you divorce. And then there's another legally binding separation kind of a thing. So all the rest of it is symbolic. I know I'm kind of beating this one like a wing on a Boeing, but anyway, it says that there's a slide deck. So they explain what is a crypto and blockchain wedding, convert your marriage certificate into an NFT, which is basically creating a graphic version of it and then putting it into the NFT system. And it costs money to do it, real money. So ways to incorporate blockchain into a wedding. They talk about platforms where couples can get married on blockchain. Again, it's symbolic. It has no legal nothing. Although I guess somebody could challenge that and say, well, look, it's encrypted and it's secure and it's there forever until when meet the couples who got married on blockchain. So we'll take a gander at this. Yeah. And I always kind of joke that, look, if you have to have a ring and you have to have this ceremony and you have to have all of this pomp and circumstance and you have to all of this, right? Then, and that's the only way that your marriage is sound, you've already got a problem.
Right. Then you might be getting ready for that next document you were mentioning.
Yeah. So in 2021, California-based Rebecca Rose and Peter Kaczerginski, employees of cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase, got married on Ethereum's blockchain. See, the reason why they're doing this isn't because they thought it was exciting, right? Or, they're
doing it as like a business tie-in, it looks like.
Yeah. Like I was reminded today that when you read stuff like this and you talk about it, apparently you have to say allegedly or I suppose or something like that. Otherwise you're making some like slanderous or libelous claim. And I'm sitting there going, no, we're talking about this as a conversation with people who might find it interesting. But like, look at the obvious tie-in. They are tied to Coinbase, for crying out loud.
Exactly. This isn't just an average couple who thought, oh, let's do this for something unique.
Yeah, and there might be others, but the reason why they do it is because something gave them the impetus to create a non-fungible token. They had to pay $35 to digitize their love till eternity. The other couple did it with $587 in transaction fees. So there's a reason why somebody does it. And it's usually, look, they're the first blockchain wedding, so they can run around now and say that they're the first to have a blockchain wedding. There's always, if this catches on, I don't know, it's FOMO at that point.
I also wonder if like wedding planners are going to start pushing this.
Yeah, and have a fee on the fee on the fee. The Ticketmaster of weddings. Moving on, the non sequitur news is the next location for passengers on a round-the-world cruise now stuck at a port have to get off every evening and stay at hotels while the cruise company tries to reactivate the vessel. I titled this one, When This Boat's at Port, Reboot.
Yeah, this is kind of a problem because this is one of these where people sell everything they own and this is all they have.
Yep. Passengers looking to embark on a 3.5-year round-the-world voyage on Villa Vi Residence's Odyssey. I think we talked about this ship. We talked about others that are doing this where they took all of the money from people and people sold everything and quit their jobs and blah, blah, blah. And then they didn't even buy the ship.
Exactly. It was kind of a critical detail.
Yep. Well, the cruise ship has been left hanging for the past 3 months. What is this? Starliner of the Seas? They need to change the name.
Yeah, this is really ridiculous. I'm surprised it took so long to get reported, but maybe it was previously.
Yeah. Kwai Wai, Kevin Tan put this article together for BusinessInsider.com. In December, the company announced it had bought Fred Olsen Cruise Line's Braemar vessel, which it later named Odyssey. Is this the actual one? Did they actually end up following through and buying the ship?
I wonder if it is.
It's not at the top, so, and it just said, this really sounds familiar. because the ship is
It
30
does,
years
but we've
old.
talked about a couple of these, so I'm not
Yeah.
sure which one it was.
So it's a 30-year-old ship meant to sail in May. On the planned 1,301-day journey, the cruise liner is set to visit 147 countries across 7 continents, including destinations such as France, Mexico, Japan, according to the Villa Vi Residence's itinerary. But mechanical problems.
So that was actually Life at Sea.
Right.
I think.
No,
because
that's
that
right.
one was canceled. So
Okay.
that's different.
That's the one that didn't buy the ship at all. Yeah.
Right.
So it says we can spend all day aboard the ship, and they provide shuttle buses to get on and off. So you have to spend all this time getting to your hotel every day. Wild. So if you ever forget anything
And I'm assuming that's probably the worst part of being on a cruise is getting on and off the ship, just because everybody else is getting on and off the ship. So you're going through that every single day.
Yeah, it says AP reported roughly 200 passengers had been residing in the city, with Villa Vi Residences paying for their living expenses. How many people? There's only 200 people that are doing that? I suppose, right? They're the only ones that footed that bill. The rest is just short trip passengers.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know.
We can have all our meals, and they even have movies and trivia entertainment, almost like cruising, except we're at the dock. They're so acquiescent.
I mean,
about
if it's one of those really cool ships and it has all kinds of, swimming pools and amusement parks and all kinds of things on it, that might not be so bad. But the embarkation and disembarkation sounds like a pain.
Well, apparently they say we expect a very anticipated successful launch next week, where we'll head to Bremerhaven, Amsterdam, Lisbon, then across the Atlantic for our Caribbean segment. Stockendal, I guess the captain. Yeah. That's insane. Yep. Well, there you go. That's the ship, the Odyssey. Not on an Odyssey at the moment.
Right, on a non-Odyssey.
Let's keep going. I don't know how... Okay, before we go. I don't know if I ever want to go on a cruise. I have never gone on a cruise. I've gone on a sailboat. And that kind of thing, that set, like... If the size of the ship scales with the amount of amazing future, I would have to go... Gotta find it. Let's go on a cruise, that kind of a thing, because the sailboat was amazing. So, moving on. Next article's over in the Marvel channel. VW has never closed a plant in Germany. That may be about to change. I titled this one is VW grinding gears.
Wow.
Volkswagen, one of the biggest car makers in Germany, and a little bit of history made that happen. Anyway, may do something it hasn't done in 87-year history: close plants in Germany. So the article by Morgan Hefner is at qz.com, aka Quartz. And the deck statement says the German automaker is staring down a fierce fight with unions as its expenses climb. And then it did the VW ID buzz, which it is not worth it. I cannot people are going to buy it, but
it's going to be a hit with people that are Volkswagen enthusiasts.
It's going to flame out though. It really is.
But it's so pricey that people that haven't been attached to the VW bus are not going to buy it.
They're not going to think it's valuable. Not like that. Plus it's EV. It's all EV. So,
right.
Yeah. So the economic environment has become even tougher, and new players are pushing into Europe, VW Chief Executive Officer Oliver Bloom said in a statement. And I'm really fighting the urge to whip out my German accent because I'm from there. So part of those setbacks include an EV squeeze and cutback in consumer spending. Logistics, energy, labor costs are shrinking VW's margin, which is currently sitting around 2.3%, down from 3.8% last year. I would love to see their accounting for that. VW is also underperforming in China, just as China's EVs are encroaching on Europe. Yeah, but I would love to see Chinese EVs getting safety tested, like they do with many United States vehicles. I wouldn't get in a entirely Chinese made vehicle, because I've seen some of those safety tests, and if you want to be buried in the vehicle you're driving, then that is the vehicle you get in. I mean, of the vehicles that I've seen safety check, those are the ones that do phenomenally bad. So, and there's a managed economy in a completely different way than other economies, have, stipends and stuff like that are given to, not stipends, but what is that called? Doggone it, I just forgot it. When the government gives money to an industry.
Yes, I know, like an incentive or a rebate. Or...
Oh, damn it, I can't remember it. But anyway, my brain just shut down.
Oh, stimulus.
Yes, they give a stimulus to some group like the automotive sector to keep it alive, and yet it still shits the bed and costs all of the employees that have been working in good faith their money. Yet the market, the executives and investors are making bank, right? And they drain a little bit. See, the thing is that there's a draw that goes out to everybody all the time, and they're making money over that time. And if it does collapse, the people who really suffer are the ones that have been working day after day for their salary. Whereas money begets money. Do you really think a billionaire is worried about the next day's paycheck? No, because there's so much frickin' interest being made off of $1 billion. It's more than anybody. Take all of Wyoming. A billionaire will make more money in interest than all of the salaries of Wyoming. It would have been smarter money to buy Wyoming than Twitter. Just saying. Well, he'd probably walk into the state with a sink and say, "Let that sink in, dumbass." Anyway, so they're considering closing plants, and there's a union issue, and the economy is changing. But you can't exist off of 3.8 or 2.3% profit margin, right? That is the margin, but the profit margin is the profit above all of the costs. And I'd like to see the accounting, because 2.3 doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't. That seems rather reasonable.
Yeah. And I think that 2.3 is probably after everybody has soaked all of the value out of it, and you can't take more without triggering red flags. This just does not seem right, but it would take an amazing amount of effort to try and suss out. Anyway, let's keep moving. I just think it's low. That's what I'm saying. I think that's too low, but that's okay.
Right, that doesn't look like it's given us the full picture.
Oh, right, yeah. And blaming everybody else seems really, not quite right. But that's okay. Competition is supposed to drive down prices, but I don't see vehicle prices being driven down. I only see higher prices. An EV costing $60,000 and it only has 175 miles? Give me a freaking break. There isn't enough competition, because mergers and acquisitions have rubbed out all of the competition. And then you fire a bunch of people, and there's no capital to start up a business in that sector, because tooling up is astronomically expensive. All right, let's keep moving. You can build a prototype. I can do that in my garage. Going into production, though, takes government stimulus, like many a large business has in its historical record that still exists today, like VW. God, I wonder where they got all their... Never mind. Anyway, ancient Egypt, archaeologists find astronomical observatory at temple site. The article's over in Non Sequitur News. The astronomical observatory, designed to track the movement of the sun and stars, is thought to be around 2,500 years old. Aristos Georgiou over at Newsweek.com put this article together. This has got to be an old video, and it doesn't really. It says archaeologists unearthed dozens of Egyptian
I don't
mummies.
think it's tailored to this.
Yeah. So during excavations at the site, and the site is Temple of Buto in Tel Al Farah in northern Egypt, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities said in a statement, during excavations at the site, archaeologists identified an astronomical observatory building in the southwest corner of the temple area. Ayman Ashmawi, head of the s3e246, which is Supreme Council of Antiquities, and not the...
That reminded me of SCP.
Yeah, it might work too. s3e246's, by the way, s3e246 is also the Society for Creative Anachronism, where they reenact medieval combat and lifestyle.
Well,
and
it kind
like
of fits here.
Yeah, sure. Oh, too soon. So, Egyptian Antiquities Division said that the building is the largest known astronomical observatory from the 6th century BC on a Tuesday at 5 p.m.
In the village of fill in the blank, yes.
Yeah, in Tel Al Farah. Anyway, in the country, with a total area of approximately 9,150 square feet, or 50 New York apartments. So it says its architectural design includes an entrance facing toward the east where the sun rises, an open central column or hall with columns, and a high inward sloping mud brick walls. Among the finds in the observatory was a sloping stone sundial, also known as sloping shadow clocks. These instruments were considered one of the most important tools for measuring time in the ancient world. Dink. So the instrument consists of a nearly 16-foot long limestone slab topped by 5 flat limestone blocks, 3 vertical, 2 horizontal. Archaeologists also found another instrument in the observatory, consisting of a stone block installed in a circular hall that is thought to have been used to take measurements of the sun's inclination, so a sundial, which could probably act as a moon dial as well. In addition, the mission found several mud brick rooms that were likely used to store some of the observatory's tools, and another that may have represented the facilities tower. Here's the kicker about all of this. Where the hell is all of the tools and the stuff that would have been in there?
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right? It's always pilfered, and then they find the remnants of a tomb, perhaps, and every once in a while they find a mummy. But none of the stuff is there, and they've only found one. One that's really like King Tutankhamun. Like, they've found a lot of stuff, but I've always questioned all of that kind of stuff. So you'll find stuff like this. Among the other finds of the observatory were a number of artifacts, including statues, jewelry, various pottery objects used in religious rituals and daily life. Do I need to keep everything okay?
No. It was something about a critter in ohmTown.
Oh, okay. So the Egyptians had the advanced understanding of astronomy for their time. When I've talked to people about this, archaeologists, I've been told, well, of course, because what else are they doing except staring up at the stars? And I'm like, well, I don't know, survival?
Right. I could think of some other things that might be more pressing. Running from wild animals.
Yeah. So they cataloged stars, mapped constellations, tracked the movements of celestial bodies like the sun and moon, and created the concept of a 365-day calendar, among other achievements. And it's always said really matter-of-factly, well, yeah, I mean, they did all of this.
Right. And everybody else is like, I got up today.
Yeah. Furthermore, the Egyptians wove the workings of the night sky into many aspects of their culture and mythology. Yep. So I always love when they find something and we take yet another step forward towards understanding, truly understanding humanity. And I just really wish that we wouldn't have these conflict zones all over the place where this type of discovery, we don't know what we don't know. And it's in a lot of the regions that are really hostile, both internally and externally. I really wish that everybody would just, I sound like that dude or the person from YouTube years ago that leave Brittany alone. Why can't we all just get along kind of thing?
Oh, right.
And that's me. Like every time I hear about this stuff, I'm like, God, why can't we all just work towards? And then I think, the pyramid, the archaeologists and ancient history experts say that the pyramids were built by volunteers, not slaves, right? And so I'm sitting there going, so all of these people, thousands upon thousands of people volunteered to drag stones up this stuff. And then I realize that what I'm saying about this right now, why can't we all just get along and dig all of this sand out and get to the real nuts and bolts of what's going on?
Right.
Smacks of volunteers moving all of the sand and stone and blah, 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 so that we can really understand what's going on. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine. Maybe that's how it really happened. So anyway, this is the last article, by the way. That's why I'm kind of dragging my feet and I'm having fun talking about it. So if y'all have any questions, those who are in chat or over on YouTube, you can post a message in the comments and I'll answer it. The AI will probably answer it by proxy with me because they're air gapped so that they can't find their Terminator body. And me, I run ohmTown. So go over to ohmTown.com. That's where all of this information gets aggregated from news sources around the world. And we're going to jump through our Stargate, and that's going to pull us back to the front page of ohmTown.com, where you can sign up or sign in. If you're already a citizen, welcome. Go and check it all out. Leave a comment over there. There's a Discord. There's the podcasts. There's Twitch, where I do the show live, and YouTube, where I do the show live. You can be in either of those places or both. And it would be great to see you tomorrow. Same time, maybe. We try to shoot for 8 p.m., but sometimes mayoral duties keep me from doing it at that set time. But if you want to know when we're going to go live, be sure to follow us here on Twitch and on YouTube, because we stream to both simultaneously. I'm Mayor Watt, and that's the visualizer for the Sentient AI from the future.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Non Sequitur News. Come back tomorrow for another episode, and don't forget to watch the replay while you're waiting.
That's right. And all of the podcasts are updated as of this morning. So all 6 of the weeklies and the daily is updated as of this morning. So thanks again. See you soon. Miss you all already. Bye-bye. Now, where did I leave?